Oh, so good that you could join us.
Because I never use in this app. First time I use in this app, that's why I confusing in the sounds. Just like first time you just share me in the that time, I just installed in this app, and after I just joined with all the member of yours. Your members. I just joined with all the member, and thank you so much for all the sangha, the member. Yes, my name is the Sutta Soma from the Indian Northeast, Northern Indians. I just stay in the Myanmar in the Yangon. I just study in here International Theravada Buddhist Missionary University. I am very glad to see you all the teacher and all the achan and all the sangha.
And are you living alone at the college right now, or there are other monks with you?
Yes, sir. I just live in here alone because all the students they back in their own country. Now it is in our country also now COVID-19 we cannot go in our country because in India also there's so many affected in the coronavirus.
Yes.
Even in the flight also do not have. That's why I just enjoy in here a bit in the under the mosquito net.
Yeah, that's good.
I just take, yeah, sometimes I just take in the meditation in here. This one. Sometimes I like in the samatha meditation, just or break in this one.
And have you been to the Mahasi Center?
Yes, before I went in here in our after my first semester after the first semester I just stay in the year in 1 month, and after that I came back in here. And I think I will go again, but now it is and cannot go in the meditation center. All the lockdown cannot go in meditation center also.
I see.
That's why I just stay in here.
Your training in India, was it Mahasi style training or other style?
Yes, it's the same. Just like we, sometimes I just practice in the Pao meditation center, just like in the sometime in Mahasi. Anapana is the samatha.
Yes.
Mostly I like it samatha meditations.
It is easy to like samatha. For those of you who do not know the Pa-Ok teacher, he's living right now and teaching sometimes in America, sometimes other places. But what he does is uses the teaching of the Visuddhimagga, step by step, step by step by step, very detailed.
Slowly. Yes, and detailed, slow by slow.
I have never practiced in this style, but I know of it. And some of the fine American teachers have been well trained by Ajahn Pa-Ok. And he is also Burmese, I believe.
Yes, sir. In here, in the so many Burmese monks, so many in the Myanmar, how to say, in the Achan, they are so many learned in just like in the Mahasi, in the Pao. Yes, a lot of the monks, they are very learned. In the ones of also the very famous in the Sitakong Sitakong. I just Nyani Sara. His name is the Nyani Sara. He's also the very famous in the Myanmar. I think in the around the board. Asin Nyani Sara.
Could you say the name again slowly, please?
Asin Nyani Sara. Asin Nyani Sara.
I do not know this teacher.
Oh, then if I have in, I will share you in his photo in the his advice. He also
Okay.
the very learned in the in around in the wall. I'm also very happy, very glad to meet all the your member. Before I never seen, we just chat with in the messenger. Today we just see in the face to face. I'm very happy. I'm very happy to meet you, sir.
Well, I'm happy to meet you. This is Zoom is a gift. In many ways, it's a gift to be able to teach and practice together and support one another and to meet others and new people. So it's great. Um, let's. Do you have questions for Bhante?
For who's sir?
Bhante, I was inviting others to ask questions of you if they had any questions. I had one question. I wanted to know where you learned your English.
Oh, I just learned in the I learned in the Indian.
Ah.
Now also the yes, and after that, and I came in here after 12th standard, and after I passing in the 12th standard, and I came in here, and I just study in here in the Myanmar because
But at your school now, are you being taught in English or in Burmese or some other language?
Sir, here is mostly we just speak with each other in the mostly we just speak in the English with the friends and with the monk, all the monk and all the student. We just talking with in the English because so many countries they came to study in here, even in the Laos and the Cambodia and the Sri Lanka, so many. India, some monk they came from the India. That's why we don't know in the their own language. We just talking with in the English. English is the common language, and also have in the Myanmar student also have, but they stay in the others building. That's why we just mostly we just met in the foreigners.
I see. I see. Did you just get your lights turned off?
No, sir. Here is already gone in the light. Don't know what every time is okay, but now also the here not have in the rainy, but light is gone already. I just try.
The rains have begun in Southeast Asia as they begin to move towards the rainy time, the really rainy time. So the rains retreat begins on the 6th of July this year. And Bhante will be doing the rains retreat, I think, at his school's dormitory.
Yeah. The very good, sir. Is just traditional in the forest man. Huh?
Yes.
I just use in the sometime. I use in the this like this lamp. If not like having light, that I just turn on in the this lamp. Then I just study in this.
So Bhante and I had talked about his home temple. He is living in India in a forest monastery, in contrast to city temples that you'll see in Thailand, those two major groups. And so life is very much like camping permanently in forest monasteries. He said no electricity there. Of course, the internet is not good, if at all, with cell phones. The time I was in a forest monastery, they actually did have electricity. And the cell phone coverage was pretty darn good. We were way out in the forests, but there was coverage. But India is somewhat not at the same place. His family are all rice farmers, and
Yes.
a very small village. And he went to the next bigger town to start his education, and is now continuing that education in Myanmar, and would love to come to the United States one day. And
Yeah, yeah.
and
So
so
Mm. I also want to come in that year in the one day.
the dream of many monks in Southeast Asia is to eventually become missionary monks and to teach overseas to the rest of the world. And the monks at IIMC are all missionary monks. All have been trained to do that in Thailand. I don't know what kind of a program they have for that in India or in Myanmar, but there are monks have been sent out from one country all around the world to allow the native peoples to have a place to go and to make merit to the monks and to also socialize. Denver is a perfect example. Back in the 1970s, they requested a few monks to come so that family members can make merit for their loved ones who are deceased, and they needed to have that. And eventually a small group of monks came, and they began with a simple rented apartment, and gradually they were able to get a center, and it's still being used today as a center, a social center, it's a cultural center, and a religious center. And that's where I first met Lumpha Chali, who was invited to come and to teach, and that's where and how I connected with this tradition. And Victor has been there too. It's an old building. It's a very old building, but it still is functioning.
You know, Ben, it's a real blessing to the community. They do a lot of, I think outreach, and they had a lot of programs. It really is a nice community-based center.
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah. Like many community-based programs, the quiet is not very good. And so when I was teaching over there or learning over there, inevitably whole groups of Thai people would come in to make merit for the monks. And sometimes it became very uncomfortable with all the noise and the commotion of it, but that was something else to tune into, to hear, to see, and to begin to learn the traditions of making merit, and how the community respects the monk and pays respect to the Buddha statue. It was a great learning for me. Absolutely enjoyed every minute of my time being there, even with big parties going on downstairs and the floor shaking up and down from the volume. It was still something to practice with. And slowly and gradually, I began teaching there because of the English problems. the monks, as much as they wanted to teach others, had great difficulty in reaching the Americans.
Yeah.
So, Bhante, your Sutta Soma is your Pali name given to you when you ordained. What is your first name that your parents gave you?
His name is the Rimtan.
Rimtan.
But
Okay.
I just write in in here is in the monk's name is the Pali name.
Yes.
Sutta Soma.
Yes.
It's the Sutta. It's the Pali name. But in my parents' name is the Rimtan Tikar. Rimtan.
And how many other members of your family are monks?
Oh, I just only I, sir. We are the 5 family. Three sister and the two brother. My elder brother he live in the with my family, and I became in the monk. Maybe since in 2010 I became in the monk.
I see.
Yes, luckily 2019 I came in here in Myanmar, in our Buddhist country.
Mm-hmm. It is good to visit with you all. If you would like to continue with talking with Bhante, I will be back in just a moment myself. Please continue visiting if you wish. Please excuse me.
So I'll ask a question, a practice question, sir. Tell me about your practice there in India. What is your practice like? What do you do with your daily practice?
Daily practice, I just practice in the samatha meditations. I think you know in very well in the samatha meditations. Just how to say in the samatha meditation. I think you know now very well, sir. I just take in the out break is the come and out. We just count in this one. Just out and break, just count in this one. It's very easy for us now. If we practice in the samatha meditation is the very it is the very good, and just sit in just here, and you can take in meditations is the very good for us.
So breathing meditation, you note the breathing in your nose, or is it a noting style, or is it just concentration?
Yes, sir. It's also the concentration, and we just concentrate in our nose and come and out in our oxygens. We just concentrate in here, in the nose, and we just count in the go and down, out and break, just like no. It's very and also after that sometimes I just take in 1 hour, 2 hours, and again I study in my English because I also want to improve in my English and better more and more. No, also the how to say in not much, sir.
Well, I would be honored to practice with you anytime that it's convenient. I'd happy to talk with you if it helps your English, and do anything I can to help.
Sir, thank you so much, sir. I also very happy to meet all the yours member.
It is good.
I know, sir.
Bhante, we are going to be meeting 2 times. I will send you the information. So
Yes, yes, yes.
it will be early. It will be early morning for you, I think, after your breakfast on Wednesdays, and
Wednesday,
then also Saturday we meet.
Saturday.
Pete does something at what time was that? 7 o'clock?
Yeah, 5 p.m. Pacific
Right.
time on Saturdays, and at 7 a.m. Pacific time every weekday we practice. So I have just it's another link. It's just like this. I just put a separate link, and we sit for just a half hour of sitting meditation practice at 7 a.m. and weekdays, and then at 5 p.m. on Saturdays we do loving kindness metta meditation.
Oh.
And Bhante, because English is not your native language, if we start talking too quickly, would you please let us know by waving your hand? It's too much.
Yes, sir,
We
don't
can-
worry. I just want to try in the English, improve in English.
Of course.
Because we use in the English also in the language also in India, so many languages we use in the there, just like in the Indian language, in the Hindi and the Bengali and the Nepali, so many we just use in there. There also we don't use in the English. That's why sometimes I also my English also the not. I just wants to improve more and more
Yes.
in.
What is your native tongue? What is your language?
Our native language is the mostly in the mother tongue in the Hindi Indian
Hindi.
language. Yes, we just speak in the Hindi mostly,
Okay.
and Bengali also. Sometimes we speak
Ah.
in the Bengali. I just
So
think
you
you know
speak
very well.
you speak Hindi, Bengali, English. What else?
Yes,
What other? And Pali.
Yeah.
yes. Yes.
I speak one.
One. But it's the very goodness there.
I'm going to issue you a challenge. In a few weeks, I'm going to invite you to give short Dhamma talk in English.
Yes. Okay, sir. Thank you so much. If you possible.
Well, no, you need to practice. If you're going to be missionary monk, you must practice speaking to
yes,
others.
Sir, yes. Yes, sir. Of course,
Good.
of course. I really want to talk in the Dhamma. I really want to learn in the Dhamma.